Okay, everybody, here's or video 1 of the Module 1 AGS 3 study guide. So I'm going to start right here. First thing, yes, school just ended. The first thing that I'm going to do is I like to make this Y, and I like to make this X just because I'm more used to that. And then I know I need to switch the two. Oh, I need to make that Y. Okay, from here I need to solve for Y. So what I'm going to do is I need to get rid of the 3 first. So I need to cube each side because that's the inverse of cube root. So that's going to give me x to the third. And then it's simply just going to remove that, okay, and the 3. And it's going to leave me with something more manageable. And at this point, I'm going to get rid of the divided by 2 next. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, and I will have 2x to the third is equal to negative y, take away 3. Then I'm going to take it up here. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I'm going to have 2x to the third plus 3 is equal to negative y. And then I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1, or divide by negative 1. And that's going to give me y is equal to negative 2x to the third minus 3. And then I'm going to use the proper notation and say that the inverse of n is equal to negative 2n to the third minus 3. And there we go for number 1. Okay, going on to 2. I am not going to do all this, rewriting on every single problem just for that first one. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I know that I'm going to have x over here, and I'm going to have y here, and I need to solve for y. So my first step is to multiply both sides by 5. And then I'm going to add 4. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. And I'm going to have y is equal to negative 5x minus 4. So the inverse of n is equal to negative 5x minus 4. And excuse me just for a second here while I get the answer key out. I definitely wouldn't want to miss any of these. So just 1 second here. That's not it. Okay, I got it, and we're good. Okay, going on to 3. I'm going to have y equals 1 over x minus 2. And then, of course, I switch those. Now, this is a tough problem. You never want, in these problems, you want to clear fractions, and you want to get rid of denominators, okay? So here I'm going to get rid of divided by y minus 2 by multiplying by y minus 2. And now I'm solving for y, so I'm going to get rid of, this is multiply by x. So I'm going to divide both sides by x, which is going to give me just y minus 2 equals 1 over x. And then all I have to do is add 2, and I'm done. Oh, except I need to write it in good function notation. And there it is. Okay, 4. So here's 4. I'm going to have x is equal to negative 2y to the third plus 1. So I switch my x and my y again. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And then I'm going to divide by, how do I want to do this one? I will divide by negative 2. So that's going to give me x over 1 divided by negative 2 is equal to y to the third power. And then I'm going to take the cube root of both sides. So the inverse of x is going to be equal to the cube root of this. 5. Okay, so for 5, I'm going to have x. I'm just automatically switching now the x and the y from the beginning. And then I'm going to subtract 2. and then I'm going to take each side to the 5th power. So when I do that, I have x minus 2 to the 5th is equal to y. And in proper function notation, I'll have is equal to x minus 5 to the 5th power. Remember, I don't want to see any of this. This is bad, okay? Or in something like that, okay? Like taking them both to the 5th power somehow. Like taking that to the 5th and then whatever that is, okay? That's not how it works, remember? So what this really means is x minus 5 times x minus 5 times x minus 5, blah, 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 5 times, okay? All right, going on to 6. It's over here. Okay, so for 6, I am going to cube both sides. And then all I have to do is divide by -1. That was a short one. So h of -1 of x is negative x to the 3rd power. Okay, 7. So for 7, we have this. I'm going to take away 1. These start to get a little repetitive, except this is y. And then from here, I'm going to get rid of divided by y, and I'm going to do that by multiplying by y, which is going to give me, just one second here, it's going to give me y times x minus 1 is equal to the number 4. And then all I have to do is divide by x minus 1 on both sides, which leaves me with that. And using some algebra ninja skills, we have solved number 7. Okay, number 8, the toughest one on the page. I'm going to have x is equal to 1 over negative y minus 1 minus 2. Let's solve this thing for y. Add 2. You'll notice I just do one step at a time. Now I need to multiply by my ugly denominator of negative y minus 1. And I'm going to have x plus 2 times negative y minus 1 is equal to 1. Now we need to somehow solve this whole thing for y. I'll clearly show you on this one what we do. So we're going to divide by x plus 2. And when I do that, I'm going to have, so we'll just take this like to here. We'll have negative y minus 1, getting closer, is equal to 1 over x plus 2. And then I'm going to add 1. Almost there. Now the only thing that I need to do is multiply both sides by negative 1. And when I do that, it's going to give me y is equal to x plus 2 minus 1. And then with my good notation, it will be negative 1 over x plus 2 minus 1. Okay, that's it for 8. Toughest one on the page. If you can do that, the rest of these should be a breeze. So we're going to add 2. And then let's go ahead and, what should we do first here? So we have it down to x, we have this down to x plus 2 equals negative y to the third. Let's divide by negative 1. So when I divide by negative 1, I will have this. And then let's just take the cube root of that, and we'll have the final answer. There you go. And if we want to be exactly correct about that, I should have this as n. There we go. Okay, 10. So for 10, we have one that's pretty simple. but I'll do it anyway. Let's multiply both sides by 7. Then we'll take away 27. And then we'll divide both sides by 2. These didn't divide nicely, so I just left it over 2. And that is the end of the first page. The only other thing that you need to be ready for on the test that I really wish was on here was kind of a logarithm problem. So let's just practice one of those. If I said that f of x was equal to 5 to the x power, and I asked you to write an inverse of that, I would definitely be ready for it. So let's make this simple by making that y. Then make it even easier still by switching x and y. And now I need to turn it into a logarithm. So remember, we have a logarithm, and the little number is our base number. And then the answer is what comes next. And when we do all that, it equals the exponent. So this is another way of writing 5 to the y power is equal to x. And this would be the inverse of this. Be ready for that. And we'll make that the end of video 1.